Tuesday, November 1st, chilly and very rainy. It has rained all day. A few of us gathered for rehearsal tonight, but not many came, so we didn't practice. Shims took a bunch of us home. Wednesday, November 2nd, chilly and cloudy and rainy. Busy working all day. I studied on the third act of the play tonight. Thursday, November 3rd, chilly and partly cloudy. We had another play rehearsal. I must get myself more in hand when we practice. Friday, November 4th, chilly and cloudy, rain. I have felt fine today. I attended the mother and daughter banquet at our church tonight. Went as Mrs. Harris's daughter. I read Negro Mammy's lullaby and Let the Howlers Howl. I have been getting reports of it ready for the paper for tomorrow.
It was common practice for local newspapers to publish detailed social columns about community events, church functions, and club meetings.
Saturday, November 5th, cold, a little snow. My girls had their Sunday school class meeting at Elizabeth B's. We took a hike this afternoon. I certainly enjoyed it all. I have studied late tonight. I want to get some sleep. Sunday, November 6th, chilly, but partly sunny. Snow in evening. All services went well today. Nothing unusually exciting occurred. Monday, November 7th, cold and partly cloudy. I had a letter from Lyndon. She suggests that I come to Buffalo the night before Thanksgiving, as she is to be there, and that we come home together. We had a play rehearsal. Not many there, but it went well. Tuesday, November 8th, chilly and cloudy, snow toward night, election day. Well, I didn't vote. It was a lovely evening out. The snow came down softly in large flakes. Oh, it was wonderful. I had letters from Mama and Ruth. I wrote to Jack tonight. Wednesday, November 9th, cold and snowy and rainy. Everybody says what an awful day, but I haven't minded it at all. I studied for my reading at the mission Friday night. Thursday, November 10th, chilly and partly cloudy. We had play rehearsal and choir rehearsal. I asked Mr. White for my Thanksgiving vacation. He seemed willing to give it to me. Friday, November 11th, chilly and partly cloudy. No one came after me tonight, so I didn't go to the mission to read. I straightened out money matters, and the results are slightly discouraging. I am tired and nervous lately. I think I'll feel better soon, particularly if I can go home for Thanksgiving. Saturday, November 12th, quite cold with a little snow. Our snow has stayed on quite a while. I do sort of hope we'll have snow for Thanksgiving. I had a nice letter from Mama. She says we will have the prize cake Thanksgiving. I wonder what she meant. I fixed the bottom of my red velvet dress this afternoon and gave myself a headache doing it. I felt all right after I had eaten, though. I studied and got some manuscripts ready for mailing. Sunday, November 13th, cold and partly sunny. I finally decided this afternoon that I ought to send the money home instead of using it to go home Thanksgiving. So I wrote home to that effect. I felt a little downhearted, but feel better now. The young man who knows the Kettles took me for a ride tonight. I liked him pretty well. Monday, November 14th, chilly and damp and cloudy. I finished fixing my velvet dress. I had a letter from Mama in which she enclosed one from Ruth and one from Dawn, and I also had a letter from Jack. Tuesday, November 15th, milder and partly sunny. The moon rose so beautifully tonight, clear and full. I had a letter from Thomas. I washed my kimonos in Rit.
Rit is a household soap dye used for at-home fabric tinting. It was originally introduced in 1916 and is still used today.
We had a play rehearsal. I am so tired of this play. I'll be so glad when it's over. Wednesday, November 16th. Fairly mild and partly cloudy. The seagulls are coming up the river from Lake Ontario in great flocks. They fish in the river. The people were lined up on Court Street Bridge watching them. It was very interesting. I spent all my extra time at noon watching them. I went to a teacher's training class tonight.
The historic Court Street Bridge, completed in 1893, is a prominent stone arch structure spanning the Genesee River in downtown Rochester. Listed on the National Register of Historic Places, it connects the city's east and west banks and has long served as a popular local vantage point for observing the river and its wildlife.
Thursday, November 17th, mild and partly sunny. We had choir practice and play practice tonight. Both went fine. I feel quite well satisfied with the world in general and myself in particular tonight. Friday, November 18th, very mild, partly cloudy. I went to Sunday school teacher's supper and meeting tonight. Had a fine time. Saturday, November 19th, mild, partly rainy. I had the junior CE business meeting and social at Mrs. Harris's this afternoon. Mrs. Harris asked us to be her guests and furnished stuff for us to have a candy pull. We had a nice but awfully sticky time. Then she served us with ice cream and wafers. She certainly is a generous soul. When I arrived home, I found that Raymond had been here to get me to go and hear Mrs. McPherson, the evangelist who has been holding noted meetings here in Rochester. He missed me, but says he is coming tomorrow morning. Of course, I don't intend to leave my own church service to go there. I thought of going this evening, but I heard there was no more standing room, so I turned back. I have decided to stay in Rochester for Thanksgiving. Aunt Letty has asked me there. Sunday, November 20th, quite mild and partly cloudy, a full day. I took the junior CEs to a rally at First Baptist Church. All the services as usual. Raymond called this morning to take me to the McPherson meetings, but I had so many of my own church duties on hand today that I couldn't go. Monday, November 21st, cool and mostly sunny, we rehearsed at the YW Hall. I am all tired out. I had a letter from Lynn. I don't know whether to go home or not. Everything is in a muddle tonight. Tuesday, November 22nd, quite sharp, cloudy. I am getting to bed early tonight. I haven't been so tired in a long time. Wednesday, November 23rd, cold, a little snow. Lynn called me twice from Buffalo with the result that I decided to go home. I met her in Buffalo tonight and we had a perfectly scrumptious time together. We had a room at the YW. Thursday, November 24th, chilly, foggy, and rainy. Lynn and I came home this morning in a misty, drippy rain. My coming was a complete surprise to Papa and Mama. We have had a beautiful Thanksgiving together. We made candy and cracked nuts this evening. Friday, November 25th, warm and sunny. Tim and I took a hike out in the fields this morning. Lynn and I called on all the aunts this afternoon. This evening, there was a farewell party at the school hall for Mr. and Mrs. Herrick. Lyndon and I went. I danced quite a little and had a good time. They did some quadrilles, and I had been just spoiling for one. Saturday, November 26th, cooler and cloudy, rainy. We got up late this morning. I sang and played a lot this evening. Mama made some pumpkin pies. Sunday, November 27th, chilly and rainy, I read a sermon. Lynn and some of the young people planned to walk to Arcade this afternoon, but changed their minds and rode instead. I didn't go to CE, but stayed at home and visited. Monday, November 28th, chilly and cloudy. Rain. I rose at the unearthly hour of 4:30 and packed off to Rochester. I didn't so much mind leaving because Christmas is so near. I worked this afternoon and we had a rehearsal tonight at the YW Hall. It was satisfactory and I'm delighted. Tuesday, November 29th, chilly and cloudy. I have had a fine day, busy all day and happy. I bought some things today. I am getting to bed a little earlier tonight. Wednesday, November 30th, milder and cloudy. I had supper at Aunt Letty's. Had a fine time. I saw the nice conductor on the streetcar going home.
Join us as we turn the page to December 1921 in the next chapter of Dorothy's diary. We'll see you next time as we share these cherished tablets of the heart.